Hi, and welcome back to The Always Believer. I'm your host, Ariana Redondo, and we're back for another Motivational Monday. I am back and ready, of course. And today we have a really great episode with us, straight to the point. And the title of today's episode is Access to My Energy is a Privilege. So, it is a sentence that I've been saying for a long time, and I've been saying it recently a whole bunch for a lot of different ways and reasons, and people who have been in and out of my life right now, both new and old. And I feel like with the new change that has been happening throughout this past year and this past just everything in general that we can sum up, we've definitely seen a lot of changes around the world, a lot of spiritual changes, but also a lot of physical changes, if that makes sense, which I know it does, and it resonates with a few of you. So everything's energy. Everything's an energy exchange. Me sitting right now here in front of you, or you listening to this podcast, in whatever mood you're in whatever moment you're in with your life, this is an energy exchange. The fact that I'm willing to be here recording this episode, or any episode for the matter of fact, and talking to you, whether it's through a YouTube video or through the podcast that you're listening to and podcast platforms, it is absolutely 100% without a doubt an energy exchange. Now, there's a lot to unpack with this sentence, with this vibe, with this mood. I've had to be the recent reminder to a few of my clients, to a few of my friends, to just even a few coworkers, like a lot of different people in my life have been like, need this reminder. So that would be a perfect way to remind all of you and kind of take it for a spin, basically. Since there's a lot to unpack, and this is Motivational Monday, so this is a little bit shorter episode, we're definitely going to go straight to the point with a few things I have written down in my notes. And let's get to it. So, you are a sacred space. Your energy is your superpower, and you are your own greatest gift. It's as simple as that. Now, that of course comes with the fact that you need a lot of self-love and self-worth and a lot of believing in yourself, and that even coming from me, the Always Believer, takes me some time to get used to, because we live in a society up to now that we're finally starting to see some changes and some new worth changes, but we have lived and we're still living in a society that they don't teach us how to self-love. They don't teach us how to have self-worth. And this not only comes from like your family, like your nuclear by any means. This comes from freaking TV, from magazines, from literally everywhere we look, to teachers even. Like, I've talked to a lot of people, especially in Spanish, my Latin American followers and Team Flyer from Latin America. They've been talking a lot about like how their own teachers were bullies because they weren't skinny enough, or they weren't curvy enough, or they weren't quote unquote enough. Like, they're actual teachers. And I know for a fact that in many countries around the world, this has happened. So once again, it's not just comes from the nuclear family, the one that your siblings, your parents, your grandparents, and uncles. No, this comes from literally all around, that we weren't taught to self-love and have that self-worth by any means. So the fact that right now there's a lot of people telling you again and again and again that you are worthy, that you are a sacred space, that everything you're doing, no matter the way that you look like, cue Ariana right now, that you're still worthy of all the love and all the care in the world. And that, okay. So let's unpack a little bit the video right now. Not only the YouTube video I'm recording alongside the podcast, but the video that we're creating as a community, as a whole, as just a society. If you're an avid follower on social media about like wellness things, about holistic things, about spiritual things, about people breaking generational boundaries, about people just coming out and saying, hey, this is who I am, take it or leave it. I'm not hurting you. This is a safe space. Please respect me. We're seeing more and more vulnerability. We're seeing a lot more less posing, more reality. And you would think, oh my God, Ariana, how come you don't have any makeup on? Or how come you didn't wait until you feel better? How come you didn't shoot when, it wasn't freaking like 90 degrees outside, for example? I'm like, because that's not realistic. That's not an everyday lifestyle. Not for me right now. I mean, come on. One, my back is still healing, so I'm still taking some time off to like have and come together and like literally rest my body, because that's exactly what it needs. Two, I have hormone issues, because we all know I have hypothyroidism. That's about hormones. So I get hot and sweaty even in the middle of winter. Believe me, I've been literally in Massachusetts in the dead winter with snow, and I've been sweating. I've had this exact face. And if you see me on YouTube or you see me anywhere else with video, you would understand. So that's just part of who I am. Do I wait until I don't have zits on my face? Dude, everyone has zits at some point of their lives. You know what I mean? So it's like what we're seeing with that change and the energy exchange is that we're getting more and more vulnerable and we're becoming more real. And I absolutely adore that. And that goes back to access to my energy is a privilege. Because if I'm making an effort, if I'm right here showing up as myself in the best way possible, giving you respect, giving you your time, giving you a listening ear, I would want the same as well. Because everything that we take part of, even if it's a show that we're just watching, a book we're reading, the bus ride that we're on, everything's an energy exchange. The fact that you went to the bakery and got some bread, that right there is an energy exchange. Everything comes with that. And we've talked a lot in the past season, in the past seasons, plural, because it's just a lifelong thing about setting your boundaries and putting your limits. And that's how you gain that self-love and self-respect. I talked a lot about that in one of my longer episodes with Go to Fly recently. I can look up the name really quickly for you because I know that you are definitely going to ask, and that's because you freaking love me and want to know more. That's called, that episode is from May 18th, 2022 in this case, and it's Go to Fly with Ariana. Keep healing your heart because your happiness is more important. So we talk about those limits and putting them down. I talk a lot about editing people and places and things and belongings in your life as well, in order to keep and maintain your happiness, in order to have that kind of energy, because the energy that you want to have is the flowy, doughy kind of energy, So not only that with this, I feel like what has happened a lot in my surroundings through clients, team flyer, friends, coworkers, people just telling me about their life as usual, is that they've either cut someone off from their life or people have cut them off from their life. And my reaction is basically the same to some extent, because every case is different and whatnot. But it is something that people should be proud of because they took that extra step. So obviously cutting people out of your life, or things or objects or places or etc., things like that, it's really good, because like I was saying before in one of the previous episodes, you don't wear the same clothes you wore when you were 5 until the current age you are now, because I don't think any 5-year-olds are listening to me right now, to be honest. 12-year-olds, I know they are, and I do see you, and I'm so thankful that you're here at 12 years old listening to this kind of message and this kind of self-empowerment and this kind of self-love. I see you, Team Flyer, and I'm so thankful for you. I'm thankful for my 85-year-old that I know listens to me as well. So thank you very much, no matter what age you're there. But point being is, you're not wearing the same clothes, you don't like the same food. It's okay to edit, because your happiness is the most important thing. And when we talk about happiness, like I did in that episode that I just mentioned, we're going back to access to my energy is a privilege. Is an absolute privilege, because I'm going to protect that energy as much as I can. I'm going to protect my safe space because I deserve it, because I'm worthy, because I deserve all the greatest things in my life. Once again, the news, the media, everything bombards us. Life itself is depressing enough, so we have to push through that, take the higher ground, and on top of that, remind ourselves of our self-worth. And that's a lot of work. That's a lot of energy right there. And if you're a person who works with other people, whether you're a life coach, whether you're an actress, whether you're a teacher, whether you are a store clerk, the fact that you're dealing and handling other people, that sounded really weird, but you know what I mean, handling people's energy, that's what I'm trying to say, that already takes a lot out of you. So what you're trying to do, what you need to do with your life is protect that energy that you have, so you always give to yourself first, and then you take it from there. Once again, going back to that episode, I talk all about friendships need to be 50-50, relationships need to be 50-50, and all sorts. So please, if you haven't heard that episode, go back to it. And if you have more questions, please let me know down below. You know I'm always happy to listen to you guys. And that's why these episodes keep on happening to you, Flyer. Basically and utterly, literally looking like this, because that's just who I am at this moment in time, you know? So, people need to do what they need to do in order to find their happiness, including cutting people out if that's what it takes, you know? So people cutting you out, like I said, I had a few clients recently talk to me about that. And like I told them, we are also grown enough to understand that whatever decision was made has nothing to do with us. It has to do with them and finding their happiness. If it has to do something with us, for whatever reason, and every case is different, that's a perfect time to self-reflect and to realize what not only you've done, of course, but how can you do it differently next time? How can you help the other person if that's exactly what you want to do? And are you listening and meeting the other person's needs? Are they meeting your needs? Have you come to a common ground? That goes into a whole side thing if you feel like it has something to do with you. But it's a different episode or a different topic that has nothing to do with this thing in particular. So we need to have love and respect for every single person in our life, and make sure you don't create that animosity or for them to live their adventure. Don't make them feel obligated that they have to stand by your side 24/7 forever and ever till the end of the days, simply because you've known them forever, or even if you've known them for 2 days. It's like keeping the same job forever. We're a generation that doesn't do that anymore. So it's kind of the same thing. Once again, because access to my energy is a privilege. If I don't feel like this job is fair for me, it's being enough for me, it's not meeting my needs, then why would I be there wasting my energy, or giving my energy to somebody else that doesn't, takes it for granted? And once again, I know it gets complicated, no, it's a job, I need it to pay my bills and things like that. But if you know where I'm coming from, and it's not from that angle at all, if you know where I'm coming from, we're going back to the same circle. Access to my energy is a privilege, right? So for these kind of people who cut you off, for these kind of people that you feel instead of going to panic mode, what did I do? You should also be proud of them for making a big decision in order to prioritize themselves. And like I said, this doesn't have to come into deep-rooted stuff like Encanto, for example. I'm not talking about breaking generational trauma right here. I'm just simply talking about friendships that come and go, because that's what my client was talking about. It's just oh my god, I've known her forever, and all of a sudden, bye. It's well, as long as you didn't do it, as long as you ended in good terms, that means they're choosing their happiness or prioritizing themselves first. And that's really good, because that's what we want to see. Because their energy, the energy that they have, that this person has, maybe they want to keep it all to themselves right now in order to heal from whatever it is that they're going through, because it has to do more with them than with you. That's the end point, you know what I mean? So much like I say in my notes, their life is not about us, it's not about you. It's not like you have to force each other in at every single moment of your life. It's how you fit with the vibe, with the energy, and the flow of the moment. I mean, apart from the fact that I know I've moved a lot in my life, I've also lived in many places for a long time in my life, and I don't talk to the same people. They don't fit my vibe right now, my current vibe. They fit 5 years ago, 2 years ago, probably 2 months ago. Doesn't mean that they fit my vibe now. Doesn't mean the people I have today are gonna fit my vibe in 2 months. Maybe they won't. And that's okay. It's not like you're tossing people out, or it's oh my god, okay, no thank you. No, nothing like that. Give people a chance and opportunity, of course, if that's exactly what your gut tells you and your heart tells you. But much like my sweaty self and I, my goodness gracious, can't wait to open the window. Have some sort of breeze in here, please. Y'all feel me? Summer is around the corner, and for those Australian people who do listen to me, and people in Chile and Argentina, happy winter almost, basically. Anyways, what I was trying to say here is that, where the heck was I? As always. Oh yeah, like, I'm not saying tossing people out, like, left or right by any means, give them a chance, but I'm saying that you don't have to stay stuck in a certain friendship relation just because you think that this is it for you. Just because you're like, oh my god, I'm 30 something, I'm 20 something, I'm 40 something. No. Or 58, like one of my dear closest friends, and she's living her best life, and she's not stuck on like, oh, I have to stay in this relationship because I'm 58 and it's the end of my life, under quotes. No, she's completely opposite of that. It's that vibe. That's what I'm trying to say. Because why? Let me hear you. You know what I'm going to say. Access to my energy is a privilege. Obviously, no one owes you anything. I don't owe anyone anything. I don't expect anything, and you don't expect anything back, because that's where the safe space lands. That's where, you know, this new earth is starting to arise, is where, like, you have that safe space, you have that appreciation, you have that respect. You start the understanding that, like, oh, literally not everything revolves around me. It's not something that I did. It's something where that person is right now, and they need to handle what they need to handle first, you know? And if our paths intertwine in the future, then so be it. But maybe, like, that's a lesson you need to learn that moment in your lifetime, and that's pretty much it. Obviously, I have not always been so poised or, like, so, you know, positive about these decisions, especially when it's someone who, like, all of a sudden like unfollowed me or blocked me, and I'm like, what the heck did I do? Like, what's happening? What? And they're like, calm down, let me come to sender. That was very much past me. That could be present me at some moment of life, maybe. But it's something that we all working on. I mean, I definitely am not the same person I was 10 years. Oh gosh, I definitely wasn't the same person I was 10 years ago, where I probably would have been very mad or very upset or very, like, trying to find the reason, no. Now it's like, okay, I don't fit in your life right now. And once again, I feel like, at least for me, it's so much easier if it's, to be honest, a follower, aka a stranger in that case, I'm trying to say, like, that unfollows me because I'm like, well, I didn't fit your need right now. Okay, I don't know you, it's fine. It's really difficult when it's someone that you've known, especially for a long time, but even if you haven't met them for a long time, it's still really difficult because you put your energy and your thoughts and your feelings to it, right? But it all comes down to what I was trying to say. A part that I'm really, really hot right now. No, it all comes down to what I was trying to say. Access to my energy is a privilege. So if I'm here preaching that literally access to my energy is a privilege, same goes for them. And if they don't want me to access that part of their life anymore, that's fine. That's okay. Walk on. It's absolutely fine. Because it's clearly, once again, if you ended up in good terms, it clearly means that they weren't happy. And that's okay. You're not here to make everybody happy. You're not here to make everyone like you. Seriously, go back and listen to that episode because I talk a lot about this and about self-respect as well. So, where was I in all this little mini speech of mine? Oh yeah, that. You want them to create a happiness for themselves. You want them, if you're here listening to this episode, if this podcast, this vibe, this feel, I know I repeat myself in a lot of episodes, but it's true. You should be so proud of yourself that you're here listening to this for whatever reason that you're listening to this, but you are. And something in you is probably tingling and be like, oh my God, Ariana, you're onto something. Even if it's out of the 25-minute episode, 1 minute, only 1 minute of that 25-minute episode got into your brain, you're like, oh, that made me think. That's very positive. Because that's life. that's the energy I want to bring to you. So in whatever moment you are in life, we had to take a deep breath there. I know we had to. In whatever moment you are in your life, in whatever stage, in whatever, the way that you look, the way that you feel, the people who are surrounded, that you are surrounded by, your job, take notes. Grab a journal, take notes, and see how you feel with these people. See how you feel about that place. Maybe you used to go to the same bar and you love that bar, but then they change, let's say directors, they're not called directors, managers or owners, and you're like, oof, it's on the same place I used to be. Maybe you used to like something in your childhood and now you don't like it as much as anymore because you don't like the messages going, like it's saying or whatever, or a musician or etc, etc, etc. Journal about that. Take accountability about that. See where your energy is going to. Is it going more towards junk food instead of healthy food? Is it going more into toxic energy than healthy energy? Is it going more towards other people's energy instead of actually doing what you want? Talk to yourself. Be kind to yourself. What is it at this moment, and any moment that you're listening to, because you can listen to this episode as many times as you like, please and thank you very much. What is it saying? What is it saying? Legit. So remember, access to your energy is a privilege. You're gonna breathe these words in. You're gonna let it resonate with you. And you're gonna focus your energy on whatever brings you peace. That's where it all lines up. That's where it all is. And that's the most important thing, because your energy is a privilege. Remember that well. As another ambulance goes by, I don't think you heard that one, but whenever you hear that, that's signs, baby, that's signs. Look out for those signs. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, no matter the way I look. It doesn't matter how I feel, because I do record these when I do have that kind of energy that I know I can give you. And for the people watching me on YouTube, I know I'm not looking directly all the time at the camera because, one, I do look at my notes because, I do have notes. And two, I'm actually looking at the beautiful outside of my apartment right now, like the windows and like the trees and the sunshine and the people. And it's because it's a vibe. It's a whole energy. It's a whole mood. And it brings me so much peace. So as I'm here talking to you, I create this kind of energy that you're sitting with me, looking out the window, whatever it is. We're at a bar, we're at a restaurant, we're just chilling, we're at the beach, we're at a picnic at the park. This kind of vibe. This is who I am. And once again, it's when I have the right kind of energy to give to you. Same goes for my friends, for my Ohana, for people who really know me. Sometimes I take a little bit longer to reply to voice messages because if I'm caught between projects, between rushing to work, between going to the gym, between going to rehab, between all these little things that I'm doing for myself, I need to make sure that I'm sitting down and giving you the right kind of energy and the right kind of attention that you need. So sometimes I do take a little bit longer to respond, and they know. And that's actually a beautiful thing, because I'd rather give you the right kind of energy than a really rushed one, because it's not respectful to you and the kind of message that you're giving me. If it's something ultra important, you should read it first, but you usually tell me. People usually tell me. But other than that, the same goes for this. Remember, access to my energy is a privilege. Please let that sink in with whatever way you want to take it to, whatever area of your life you want to take it to. Let that sink in, because the world needs more of that, without a doubt. So, as we wrap up, the question for this episode is, when was the last time you took care of your energy? How do you take care of your energy? So yeah, let me know down below. I want to hear from you. You know exactly where we are. TheAlwaysBeliever.com, link in bio, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes. TikTok, Instagram, all the links, www.thealwaysbeliever.com. And you're always happy. I'm always happy to hear from you. Thank you to each and every one listening, no matter who you are, where you are, no matter what point of your life you're at, I think. I'm officially tired. That means my body needs to rest. That means my mind needs to rest. That means my energy for the rest of the day is completely and utterly mine. So that means everybody else is just gonna have to wait. So that's how we're gonna end this podcast episode, without a doubt, because holy moly. Well, it's mine and my little kitties, because he's right there sleeping, and I'm gonna go take a nap with him right now, because holy moly. All right, my loves, my team flyer, seriously, let me know down below your thoughts. Thank you very much for being here once more and for accepting me just the way I am, and for this being a safe space for every single person out there. Let's take the world by storm, because we know we need a whole new earth with it. Hug tighter, love stronger. Till next week. See you really soon. Bye-bye, team flyer.